Hello, my name's Mitch. This is the first installation in a TouchDesigner series, which it's either going to be a really good video and super informative, or you'll see how terrible it is. I don't know. um, so I've been recently designing a lot of TouchDesigner stuff. I kind of went all in. Um, in the past few weeks, I've made 9, 10, 11 different effects for mapping, specifically for mapping. So to run during live shows, you know, accept multiple different kinds of inputs and be able to work pretty easily on the word go. So this is an image revealer that I built up using some reaction diffusion, a bit of optical flow, and then like a feedback loop for input. So tap anywhere inside this container, and yeah, it'll feed up and just kind of spread. Then within it, this version I haven't got the parameters set up. Uh, the newer version, sorry, there's noise outside. The newer version that's gonna be on the Patreon that I've just started, that has parameters, and it's actually I've got the dual one, just for the sake of how it looks when we get into the actual talks. Using the single one just makes way more sense. And on the new one, instead of you only seeing it in the window there, I've actually got it that it runs in the container. I just did that on a different file, well, on the actual file of it, and I haven't saved the new talks. It's got it on the dual one, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's just me being lazy. But for the sake of the video, we don't need to see that. So I can run you through the basics of it. So I also have a reaction diffusion tox. You don't have to use reaction diffusion for this. I've got it set up on a switch that it'll even just run off of the edging. Um, Let me do it without the parameters in the way. So if you click on an edge, it'll build up the image from the edge. And I have a reset button built into it now. So when you get bored of it, you can reset it. I just I can probably do that now quickly, just for the sake of, nah, I'm lazy. There's no keyboard in here. Yeah, so I've got a reset. You can reset it if you want to reset it then, especially if you're running on the edges. It can take a little while to get through the whole thing. So I think if I go to the feedback, um, it just runs on the reset. It's literally just a toggle on the parameters. So that's quite easy to run. And it works on the dual input as well. It's not just the single input. So yeah, let me get into how it works. I'm not gonna use fucking neighbors. I'm not gonna use the um, the reaction diffusion. Sorry, I don't have a script for this. We're just kind of going. I'm not going to run the reaction diffusion because it can be a bit of a bitch to set it up. So we're going to give that a skip. But yeah, I'll give you the basics on how the container input works. It's actually super simple. And then, yeah, what I did to just kind of set the scene the way that it is. So let's just disconnect you. I've got it referenced on my second monitor here because I'm not that good that I can instantly recall what I'm doing. So bear with me now. So from this, we're going to run an edge, um, just so that we can get an edge that we start off with. And then, yeah, you pretty much plug the reaction diffusion in before here. I set it up with a switch so that I can choose what I want. because I don't always want it to run the reaction diffusion in the live show. It's nice sometimes to have a bit of variety, um, especially when something like this, you're going to be running it over everything. You know, it's not going to be the small basic thing. So we can get it that before we do the container input, we run the feedback loop that generates the image reveal. So what we're going to do from here, we're going to get a circle. We're going to scale this thing down to super small. Like that's cool. Maybe even a little bit smaller. That's cool. And then from that, let's just put it some, let's not do it that way. Let's do it this way. So let's have the circle come there, and then we can run a comp here. And we can run that into there. Do this on an add. And then let's just chuck a transform. So now we can kind of just position that a bit, and we can pop that circle down just along the edge there. So from here, what we're going to do is plug, we want that out. Cool. So we can start off here with I'm just reviewing myself. Forgive me. Let's just check what I do on this thing. Yeah, that's how it is. Let's go for from here. That doesn't go into there. We can leave you out. Just get a null. So we'll call this feedback input. So from here, we're going to go for just a level because we're running an edge. You can use an HSV adjust. I don't really think it's going to be that necessary. Then from that, we're going to go for a feedback. Then we're going to go for a comp. So those can connect in. I've got this set on inside. And then from here into another edge. And then into another comp. And this comp is going to be used to trigger our feedback. Let's just put this on a blur just so that it comes out with a nice little, like, it creates like a hue. At least that's what I found. Let me just make sure this is going to be put onto add. Cool. And then bang. So now you'll check there. Get ourselves a little feedback. So let's just put a keyboard in. So where's our feedback? There we go. We can reset, and it builds the scene, which rocks. That's exactly what we want. So if you want it now, we can chuck another composition, composite, not composition, and we can take our input. can just do a select actually. And when we hit it, it builds our scene. So while I have the edge here, it speeds it up a little bit, but it also kind of adds like a bit of a glow as it's coming up, which I really, really liked. So now we got it that it builds it up. You can go in with the circle, and you can go above. We can go in with the circle, and we can change where the circle's placed now. So we can lift it, hit reset, and it's going to come from wherever the circle goes. Super simple, but really effective when you get to positioning it. So you could leave it like this if you wanted to just build up, and you can have it pulse, you can have it sync to audio, you can have it do a whole lot of funky stuff. I really wanted it to fade. So did a little bit of digging, spoke to some other mates that are pretty good in TouchDesigner, and idea was, okay, let's run it off of some optical flow, because that's going to then pick up all the movement. And then we can work on that, create a feedback loop off that. And then you can change the opacity, and we can have it that it flows really quickly or it flows later. I don't have a 30 series RTX card, so I can't use the optical flow that's built in as a top. I've got to use the tool, but it still works. I mean, if it works with this, it'll definitely work if you're running on a better card. And you can see there's our optical flow kind of working already. I don't remember what any of these stuff does. English. I don't know what any of these things really do. I just upped the force a bit. Chucked an edge onto that. That's a displace. Put an edge on it. So it gave us some nice little particle thingies. Let's just drop that a little bit. There we go. And then off of this, we can just make a feedback loop. Just a general feedback loop with some opacity. I also put a bit of blur on it. Just because, why not? So, let's just do, yeah. Is that what I did? That is what I did, yeah. We do a composite here. That bad boy at the edge goes into there. Bang. Set that to add. Just drop the level of it. The opacity. And bingo. So there's our fading, like I call it an image reveal, but you could probably call it a lot of stuff. Paul, even if you wanted to, I suppose. So if we up the opacity now, there we go. That's pretty sick. And then what I did also, I chucked a blur in the feedback. There you go. And for the finale, let's put that last edge on here. There you go. So that's the basics to do this image reveal. It's nothing crazy. It's not the most technical file on the planet. We can disconnect that. It's not the wildest thing anyone's ever made, but it works really well. And it works from literally any point on this. So, yeah, if you were to go and move it now, So let's just move the X a little bit. It's really intuitive, would be the word, I think. So yeah, now let's make it that we can choose where we want the little circle to go. So let's create a container. I like using them. I've only just started using them, and they work really fucking well. So, yeah, I would say let's just go full best. I think it says full best. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really tell. So yeah, let's get into here. Let's drop the same. We're going to put a circle in. We're going to make its resolution. This isn't the best way to be doing this. It's a lot better if you're going to be running off of this to do info and then take the resolution from whatever your input is. I normally do like a null. So I'd put a null in and then I'd take the info from the null because I like to swap around my inputs a lot using Spout or NDI, OBS webcam kind of things. So the resolutions might be different then. So I rather use a null for that and name it like resolution output or whatever, or just input source or something like that, so that it gives you a better thing. And then from here, just going and selecting whatever we're going with, res X and res Y, and then making use of that as your inputs for resolution. I'm not doing that now because I'm running this. I know the resolution is 1280 by 720, so it's not the greatest practice maybe, but it doesn't have to be. So yeah, let's do this. We've got that. Let's go with the transform. And then just a null and an out. I don't know why the null. I see other people do it, so thus I do it. The out is just so we're going to be able to select that now, and we can plug this into the feedback instead. So there we go. We know it's working. I'm just going to pop that over there. So from here, what we want to do is take this. I'm going to call this container out, and it's just container out. Pretty sure I did that one right. Oh, here we go. Cool. So now let's go with a panel chop. That'll just give us the information from the panel. We're going to go select, and on this one we want the UV, or true U and true V. Either one works well. We don't want the roll because the roll is going to be, every time that you hover over, it's going to be picking it up. We want the true UV from that. So let's just select true U and true V. Put that into a math. And we want this math to say from 0 to 1 to negative 0.5 and positive 0.5. And let's chuck that into a null. And we'll call that X and Y. X, X, Y. And let's just chuck that into here. Okay. So now it's not perfect because this isn't, I've got it set to this resolution, the full best. So if we do this, let's just add I'm not going to worry about that now. So yeah, now we can go in and we can change where it is. So Every time you reset the noise, it's now going to trigger from a different place. Then you'll see this has got the full circle. You can make it a lot smaller. Let's get rid of you now. That's what I did on mine, or the tox that'll be available. Where's circle? Just make it super tiny. And it's a little bit nicer. So yeah, that's the basics for this effect. I'm not going to go that much further into detail here. It's pretty simple. It's not the wildest thing on the planet. It's not the craziest. But it is pretty fucking sick. So, you know, if you're going to be running live shows and you want something a little bit more interactive, you could map this out onto TouchOSC and have it in a crowd with you. You know, you can do quite a bit to make it fun. The last thing to do actually could be, I'm going to do it out of laziness. Make it in. Let's just take the movie file in. That's a chop. I'm a chop for doing that. We can do that. And then comp. Let's just have that run into there. Have this set as add. So because we're running this out, we can, the container input doesn't have to be that, you know, it's going to be running the same fucking thing. And we can just set this to a null. Bring this into there. Comp null, we can call this container. And we'll see there's our dot. So now let's just change this to container. And now you can see what you're doing. If you wanted to see this output here, we can run the same thing. Let's just add a select, not a comment. Let's add a select. I can't spell to save my life. Out. One. No. Out. One. No. I don't know what I called you. Just out. Yeah. And we can just do a composite here. So that you can at least see what you're doing. So now we hit the reset. There you go. I just have it set to a difference because it's the same image being pulsed over. So it just helps to see what's going on. And we can just go and reposition the dot. This isn't perfect. You can get this a lot more perfect. It just depends on how you set the container up. I am just lazy. But yeah, the one on my Patreon is going to be pretty. It's pretty. Well, it isn't pretty bang on. It's bang on. And yeah, so this will just pulse in one direction. You can clone the dots. You can have it set to mouse input. I can actually, let me show you how that one works quickly anyway. Just so that I'm not leaving you that high and dry. So what we want from here, you'll see when we click, select gets activated. So let's just go from here, choose select as well, 0 to 1. And let's just send an out from here. There is a better, neater way to be doing this. This is literally just for the sake of showing. Grab the null. And then here in our feedback, let's just set that to the reset. And now where I click is where it comes off of. I went the extra mile. I made an icon that pops up when you do it. But now wherever you click, it'll run the effect. So yeah, enjoy the mapping, and enjoy this little effect. You can go in and hellishly customize it. There's so much you can actually do. You know, you can change some of the optical flow feedback. You can add color into this. Like on mine, I've got the color thing going. So, you know, on the noise is constantly changing color. That just runs off an LFO. You can have it run on audio. You could have this run on audio as well. Like, it's very easy to set it up with an audio input. And you know what? I'll probably have some of those videos up on the Patreon just for the sake of having them up. It'll still be the same $5 maneuver, most likely. So yeah, I don't know how long this video was, but hopefully it was informative. Hopefully you could get something from it other than just my obscure warbling and the noise of my neighbors. So yeah, thank you guys. I'll have a link to the Patreon in the description of the video. I'll have a link to my socials as well. And yeah, you guys must enjoy. If you have questions, feel free to message or send me a DM on Instagram. I'm more than happy to go through the file with whoever really asks. I just know that I got asked a couple times online for a little walkthrough on just how to make this happen. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you could take something from it. It's a rather simple setup to run, but it's super, super effective and really fucking cool to have going in the shows. It's based off of a lot of stuff. It's kind of based off the flood fill. It's not exactly that. I think there's an After Effects effect that it's also very similar to. I just know I saw it on a lot of mappers, Lightwave Zero, that's part of Spectrum. I saw it there probably first, and I went, holy shit, that's a really cool effect. I want to do that. The image reveal is based off of, I think, an Electronaut one. I can have that linked in the comments or in the description as well. The input, it's just kind of figured out after a bit of play. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll probably have another video up for another one of these effects that I've made pretty soon. I have been working on a glass effect that mimics the iPhone unlock that a friend of mine suggested, so maybe I'll do that one next. And yeah, you guys must have a great day, and thanks for watching.